Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Program note, I still have a slight cold. My voice will sound a little different. I might have a coughing fit during the video. If I do that, I'll cut it out. So there you go. But bear with me. I'm doing the best I can. I can hear it. It's driving me crazy. But Steve, not me, but a guy named Steve, sent me the story. Said, Steve, check this out. From Fox59.com, Matt Christie wrote the story. Southern Indiana judge involved in Indy White Castle shooting, charged with battering her ex-husband. So I've talked before about bad judges, and I've referred to one judge that I knew as the worst judge ever. And I understand that that's a race to the bottom and kind of hard to determine who's the worst. But this woman right here is trying real hard to get herself at the top of the list of worst judges of all time. Crawford County, Indiana, a Southern Indiana judge who was involved in the White Castle issues back in 2019, continues to be mired in controversy. I actually did 2 videos about the White Castle issue because there's another judge involved, at least one other judge. But Crawford County Circuit Court Judge Sabrina Bell was arrested Thursday on a level 6 felony charge of domestic battery in the presence of a child. So apparently that's one of those enhancers. Domestic battery is one thing. If you do it in the presence of a child, it's another. According to court documents, Bell is alleged to have struck her ex-husband in the presence of their children who are aged 12 and 8. Police were called to Bell's home in Crawford County on April 12th around 5 o'clock. Bell's ex-husband told the officers he had arrived to pick up their children for a scheduled visit when Bell started a verbal argument with him that ended with her striking him in the face. Deputies advised that marks were still visible on the man's face at the time of the report. And I had people tell me, they say, Steve, the cops show up. 2 people standing there. And they go, he hit me. No, she hit me. How do they know? Well, we know in this case. According to the documents, Bell's children witnessed the battery and confirmed it to authorities. So the kids narked mom out. Bell declined to make any statements regarding the matter, police said. State police said a special investigations team presented their findings to a special judge who found that enough probable cause existed for a warrant to be issued for Bell's arrest. The Floyd County prosecutor has been assigned as a special prosecutor on the case, according to authorities. The Indiana Supreme Court suspended her with pay in accordance with the Indiana Rules of Court, and her charges were filed. The suspension will remain in effect until further order of the court or final determination of any disciplinary proceedings that may arise from her criminal charges. Now, this is not the first time she's gotten in trouble with the law while she was a judge. In 2019, she was one of 3 judges who visited Indianapolis and became involved in a shooting outside of downtown White Castle. The 3 judges had been reportedly out drinking and tried to go to a gentleman's club and found it closed. They then went to a White Castle on South Street where they got into an altercation with 2 men that led to some sort of gunplay. And I've mentioned before, and I think this is true, if you find yourself in the parking lot of a White Castle in those early morning hours and someone calls the police because of untoward activity like that, you may have made mistakes in your life. Bell continued to serve as Crawford County Circuit Court judge despite that incident and had originally planned on running for re-election in 2022's primary. But on April 20th, however, she made a Facebook post stating she was suspending her campaign for re-election after word spread of her being at the center of this new investigation. Crawford County Republican Party echoed her decision with a statement saying, "We wish Judge Sabrina Bell the best as she spends time focusing on her family and health." As she recently announced, she is suspending her campaign and is no longer seeking the Republican nomination for judge. And you'll notice that appears to indicate that they do have partisan elections for judges. And in Michigan, for instance, the ballot does not indicate Republican for judge or Democrat for judge. Now, it might be that a party has endorsed a judge, but when it comes to the judges on the ballot, they're considered to be nonpartisan. So if you're looking at the ballot and you're wondering, is that judge a Republican or a Democrat? Well, they don't say on the ballot, and many of the judges never say what they consider themselves to be anyways. So in a Facebook post that has since been deleted, Bell said, "My time will come, friends, and I will share with you everything. I have nothing to hide, no reason to hold back any longer. I'm looking forward to speaking my truth and being able to heal from it and being free." That was in a post that she deleted. And of course, that was on her account, which has now been deleted. So you can't see either of these things on Facebook. They're both gone. State police said Bell was booked into the Crawford County Jail on Thursday and has since been released on pre-trial conditions, but we do not know what those conditions are. Despite Bell and the Republican Party saying she was stepping down from the election, Bell remained on the ballot for Crawford County Circuit Court judge and had 191 people vote for her. But she lost the primary to Justin Mills, who picked up 81% of the vote. Bell has served as Crawford County Circuit Judge since 2017. Some people are not suited for the job. They just aren't. They just aren't. And I've been in a lot of courts. I've been in probably about half the circuit courts in Michigan. And I've been in pretty much all the circuit courts and all the district courts in the southern half of lower Michigan, one time or another. I've been in front of too many judges to even possibly count. And the vast majority of them do a fine job. They're qualified. They've got the right demeanor. They make good rulings. They run trials well. And every now and then you run into one who's just a numbskull. Just shouldn't be on the bench. How they got there, we don't know. I've heard of examples before where there's a great case out of Wayne County where there was a judge, a woman decided to run for judge, and she put her name on the ballot. But there were no vacancies at the time. And so she was, in essence, going to have to go up against some seated judges. And after the time passed for people to put their names on the ballot, a judge stepped down and created a vacancy. And the way it worked is basically like handing the judgeship to her. And she was one of the most unqualified judges ever. She wound up having all kinds of problems. And so weird stuff happens. And once in a while, people get elected. It's name recognition or a name that looks familiar. Or maybe nobody's running. There are some places they have a hard time getting qualified people to run. But when you see this, where she was involved in the White Castle issue a couple years ago, and now she's been arrested for slapping her ex-husband in front of their kids, you go, does she really have the demeanor to be a judge? Well, it doesn't matter now because she's not going to be a judge anymore. But it's crazy because being a judge is a great job in many respects. The pay is very good. The benefits are usually quite good. And you're a judge. You go out and sit down on the bench when you feel like it. You get up and you walk back in your chambers when you feel like it. You run your own docket. And I mean, I've seen judges who abuse this, and I'm not saying that they should, but the point is that really you are your own boss when you're a judge. And so it's a great gig to have, but the problem is that it often goes to people's heads, and you'll see those judges on the bench who lose control. And I've mentioned Brennan, the judge that I called the worst judge ever. That's what happened to her. Went power crazy. Just an absolute kook. So is it actionable? Call somebody a kook? But she shouldn't have been on the bench, and she's not anymore. So crazy story. I'll put the links to the two other prior videos in the description below this one. But Steve sent it. Thanks a lot. Southern Indiana judge involved in Indy White Castle shooting charged with battering ex-husband and no longer a judge. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. When the going gets tough, upgrade